Both good guys.
Both wonderful people. Bob Hoover, Baron Hilton. I'm so lucky to know those guys and get to spend as much time with them as I get to, at my age especially.
Tom Brokaw called your generation the greatest generation.
Well, I think when you get old, you get cynical. I know that I was probably more content during the Depression than I am the way things are going now, but I'm not sure that time changes everything, so you better live with it, and there's no sense in griping about it all the time. But I'm lucky to have lived that generation, because they call the golden age of the automobile the time that I built the cars and got to spend a lot of time in racing. And as you look back on it, all the historians call that the golden age of automobile. And as Brokaw said, I agree with him. I'm lucky to have been there.
What kind of business was your dad in?
He was a postal clerk, a rural mail carrier. A wonderful person who loved automobiles, who never discouraged me in my nutty deals. I used to take my bicycle and ride it around all the little bull ring racetracks around Dallas, Texas, and he'd take me whenever he could. He was just a hard-working guy that never asked anything from anybody, and but he was a wonderful man. He shared my interest in automobiles and airplanes.
He encouraged you?
Yes. He was very happy. He died very early, but thank God he lived to see me in the Air Force, and I used to go down and buzz his house, and he had a stroke. One arm was paralyzed, but he'd climb up a ladder, get on top of the house, and he'd wave with his left hand when I'd go over about 20 feet high, about 300 miles an hour, do a slow roll out there. And when I was 18 years old, so then he died when I was 20. So he got to see that, and I was always very proud of the fact that he got to see that I wasn't a complete loser in life, because I used to give him, oh Christ, I was always in trouble with the police, from driving a little old 38 Willis and always trying to see how fast I could show off and what I could do. You're stupid when you're young, but lucky to live through it. And
did you fly after the war much?
Yeah, I flew. I've had airplanes ever since I got out of the service. I flew until 1970, and I had my first bypass surgery in 1970, which it was experimental then, and they left me on the heart lung machine for 14 hours and ruined my heart, ruined the left ventricle, and here I am with another man's heart, which I got nearly 20 years ago, and you can't ask God to give you any more than that.
You're on bonus time.
Yep, absolutely.
What do you think? How do you think John Myers is going to be remembered?
I know how he's remembered in the aviation industry. I know that he loved his country. I know that he donated a lot of money to the Smithsonian, when you would talk to him, you knew that John Myers was a special person. But he never went out and tried to show the world that he was a special person. He lived his life as he saw it, as he wanted to live it, and he was very lucky in that. So maybe the world will never know John Myers for the great guy that he was. And I'm glad you guys are doing this in his memory, because I can't think of anybody that contributed more, bragged less, and accomplished more in the aviation industry. And he's a damn good lawyer, too.
He had success in business. He was
Yes. he did have a success in business, but you never knew it until you know, well, you had to write a $2 million check for this. And he would say it in a way that you'd know he wasn't bragging. And he donated so much money to the university up there in, what was it, Merced, I think, where he had this 18,000 acre ranch. And I guess he got it when it wasn't worth much. And now it's worth many, many fortunes.
Something about aviators end up, especially the ones that were around that era, end up being successful in business, it seemed like. I don't know if there's the habits of aviation, you think? Habits?
I don't know. Now that you mention it, I don't consider myself in business because I've always done what I wanted to do. And when you do what you want to do, a lot of times you do something knowing you're not going to make any money out of it. So I've never been a money grubber. I want to live my life as I want to live it. I've been lucky enough to not have any wants or needs in life that I haven't been able to take care of. But now as I think back on it, nearly everybody I know is successful in business as far as aviation is concerned. As my interest and my friends in aviation, Clay and Hoover and those guys, Baron Hilton.
I've talked to people that said that when they asked John Myers for advice, he used to say, just go for
it. I don't know if I ever heard that or not, but that sounds like him. Just go do it. See what happens. You got to go off into the unknown before you get any satisfaction. When you get there, maybe you run into a disaster, maybe you run into success. But it's not what you accomplished. It was a journey, and when you look back on your failures, a lot of times they were more fun than your successes. I know that's the way it is in my life.
Most guys, when they're in their 80s and 90s, they're retired and sitting home watching TV. But John wasn't that type of guy.
He went to his office every day in his Corvette when he was 95 years old. He wanted a Bentley, and we got him a Bentley, and he started driving that. And I noticed not long before he passed away, he's back driving his Corvette again. He'd be going down Sunset Boulevard 80 miles an hour. That's the kind of guy he was, and he went to his office in Long Beach, I think, nearly every day.
And he liked boats too, I think.
He had fast boats up on a lake up in the mountains here near Los Angeles, Arrowhead, I think it was. Wasn't that? Yeah. Oh, he loved that fast boat. He loved everything fast. John was a unique guy. Never be another one like him.
You know, I said to one gentleman that he was a good guy, and he said he was more than that. He was a gentleman among women.
He was a genteel. Well, my wife can tell you that because she, being a female, probably judges people. Braggarts. He was never a braggart. It's what I loved about him for all his accomplishments. I never heard him brag about one single thing that he ever accomplished. He talked about more of the things that he tried and didn't work sometimes, and making fun of himself than he ever bragged about the things that he was successful in.
He had a good sense of humor.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, I love to hear him tell his jokes. Couldn't tell them here couldn't broadcast a lot of them.
Was he a good storyteller?
Yeah, in his own way. He didn't tell a lot of them, but he was good when he got into it. About the 6 Yum Yum.
The something about fast cars, fast boats, and fast airplanes. He sort of liked that kind of stuff, didn't he?
Always, yeah, he did. And most of the guys that I ever knew, Benny Howard was the same way. Bob Hoover's the same way, and all the people I know were the same way. Jimmy Doolittle was the same way.
In your era, kids would work on their cars, they work on the engines, and these aviators, these guys knew all about. We did an interview with Forrest Bird, and he was talking about all these different engines, and he can remember right to the detail all the engines that were in all the airplanes and things.
Yeah.